So today we're going to talk about something that could really shake up the world of decentralized finance. It's a protocol called Morpho Blue. And look, this isn't just another lending app. Nope. This is a complete reimagining, from the ground up, of how DeFi lending even works.
But before we dive into the nitty-gritty of what Morpho Blue is, we kind of have to ask, why? Why does it even need to exist? Well, let's start by digging into a really big problem that's been nagging DeFi lending for a while now.
So, is DeFi lending just broken? I wouldn't say broken exactly, but it's for sure stuck in this weird spot, facing a major challenge that's really stopping it from hitting that next level.
Okay, so this slide really breaks it down perfectly. You've got these two roads DeFi has gone down. Over on one side, you have what you could call decentralized funds. Think Aave. Super easy to use, right? Passive, liquid, but it's got its own headaches, like DAO bottlenecks and scaling problems. Then, on the other side, you've got the pure protocols, like Uniswap. Totally trustless, super resilient, but man, you gotta be on top of it. It's complex. So basically, DeFi has been making us choose. Do you want easy, or do you want robust? You can't really have both.
And that choice? It leads to some serious, real-world problems. With that DAO-managed way of doing things, you get fewer assets listed, risk is just this one-size-fits-all blanket, and giants like Aave and Compound, they struggle to scale. And all this time, all that precious liquidity is getting chopped up and scattered across all these different platforms. It's just not very efficient. All right, so you've got this big problem, this fork in the road. The whole space was just waiting for something new. And that's where Morpho Blue comes in. It's not just a tweak, it's a whole new way of thinking.
So let's be super clear. Morpho Blue is not another lending fund. It's what we call a primitive. Think of it like a single perfect Lego brick. It's designed to be the absolute simplest, most secure, most efficient lending market you can possibly build. The code is immutable, it can't be changed, and it pretty much kicks the DAO out of the daily driver's seat.
And this analogy, it's honestly the best way to get it. Think back to the early internet. Platforms like Aave are kind of like AOL. Remember that? A closed-off, walled garden that tried to do everything for you. Morpho Blue, on the other hand, it's like TCP/IP. It's the bare-bones protocol that the entire internet runs on. It doesn't try to be the website. It's the thing that lets anyone, anywhere, build a website on top of it.
Okay, now we're getting to the really juicy part. This is the absolute genius of Morpho Blue. How in the world does it handle something as complicated and important as risk management without creating all those bottlenecks we just talked about?
This visual just says it all, doesn't it? Look at that tangled mess on the left. That's the old way, where everything, lending, risk, you name it, is all smushed together. Now, look to the right. See how clean that is? That separation is Morpho's whole game. The base protocol, it just does one thing. It keeps track of the loans. That's it. Everything else gets moved up to a totally separate layer.
Yeah, that is the big idea right there. You decouple risk from everything else. By doing that, Morpho Blue becomes incredibly simple. And because it's so simple, it's super robust. It just focuses on being a perfect, trustless bookkeeper for loans. All the messy, complicated stuff like figuring out risk, that gets kicked upstairs to this new open layer that anyone can build on.
So you might be thinking, okay, that sounds cool, but what about me? I'm not a risk expert. Well, that's where something called a vault comes in. If you just want to lend your stuff out and not worry about it, you can just deposit into a vault. And that vault, which is run by someone who is a risk expert, takes your funds and deploys them across all these different markets on Morpho Blue. So you get that super simple deposit and forget experience you like, but it's all powered by this incredibly flexible system underneath.
And here's where it gets really powerful. It's not just one vault. See, anyone can create a vault. Anyone can come up with their own unique risk strategy. What does that do? It creates a free market for risk management. You'll have all these different vaults competing for your money, trying to offer the absolute best returns for whatever level of risk you're comfortable with. And you know what competition does, right? It drives innovation and just leads to way better products for all of us.
So this whole layered design isn't just about being more flexible. It actually makes the whole thing way more secure and efficient with capital. Let's break down exactly how that works.
Okay, first things first. We need to talk about something that is the ultimate nightmare for any lending platform: bad debt. This is what happens when a borrower's collateral just nosedives in value, so fast that even when you liquidate them, it's still not enough to cover the loan.
Suddenly, the platform itself is holding the bag, facing a loss.
And how you deal with this is, well, it's everything. The old way, the bad debt just kind of sits there. And the last people to get their money out, they're the ones left holding the losses. It creates this absolutely terrifying race for the exits, a classic bank run. Morpho Blue's approach is totally different. If there's bad debt, it's instantly and transparently shared across all the lenders in that one specific market. So yeah, you take a small, immediate hit, but it prevents a massive, catastrophic failure. It completely gets rid of that bank run risk.
But the efficiency wins don't stop there. For example, loan-to-value ratios, they're set for each specific pair, like lending ETH against SDETH. That's way more precise. Also, your collateral doesn't get automatically lent out again, which just makes the whole system safer. And liquidations, they're super simple and predictable, which is exactly what you want when you're protecting lenders' money.
And check out this number, 650. What's that? That's about how many lines of code make up the entire Morpho Blue smart contract. That is tiny. And that minimalist design isn't just for show. It makes the protocol so much more secure, way easier to audit, and this is a big one for all of us, a heck of a lot cheaper to use when it comes to gas fees.
So, okay, we've put all these pieces on the table. What does this all add up to? What does this mean for the future of DeFi?
You know, this quote from their white paper just hits the nail on the head. The point here isn't to build a slightly better version of Aave. No way. The goal is to build that fundamental layer, that TCP/IP for finance, that lets 1,000 new Aaves, 1,000 new financial apps get built on top of it, all securely and efficiently.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Morpho Blue is a genuine paradigm shift. It takes risk management, which used to be this huge bottleneck, and turns it into an open, competitive free market. It gets these incredible efficiency gains by being radically simple. So please don't think of it as just another app. It's a foundational, unopinionated base layer for whatever comes next in finance.
And that really leaves us with the big multi-billion-dollar question, doesn't it? By splitting that simple, trustless act of lending from the very complex, very human art of managing risk, has Morpho Blue just handed us the blueprint for the future of finance? A future that's actually scalable and resilient? You know, only time's going to tell for sure, but man, it is without a doubt one of the most exciting things happening in this space right now.